Okay, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. It is another webinar, day 2 of our November edition. Day 2 of our November edition. Well, welcome to this final section for the year 2025. Thank you for joining us yesterday, and this evening is this day 2 section. This program is coming to us from Jofia Academy. Yes, 2025. Jofia Academy. So Jofia Academy is a training center in Lagos, Lekki, Nigeria. We prepare students for major exams. Center in Lagos, Lekki, Nigeria. So we prepare students for Nigerian exams, foreign exams, and computer courses. Nigerian exams and foreign exams. Basically preparing students for WAEC, JAMB, post-UTME. Also, we cover foreign exams, including SAT, IELTS, SAT, GRE, GMAT, as well as TOEFL. So if you are preparing for any major exams that requires text for English, you can call us for tutorials as well as registration plans. Beyond that, we prepare students for computer courses from zero computer to tech courses, including desktop courses, Excel, PowerPoints, graphics, video editing, web developmental courses, including front-end, back-end, UI, UX, cybersecurity, ethical hack, app development, and adult education courses. We've been out of school, favorite to school, can take people from the next phase of one's life. So this is a very important section. Again, we're commencing our webinar day 2. Like I said, this is day 2 of our webinar. Let's sit tight, relax yourself, and get yourself your laptops with your phones and get ready for 2026. Remember, the topic says future ready for tech skills. You must be getting yourself equipped to focus and face the year 2026. A bigger opportunity awaits us. But how ready are you? How ready are you? So I'm making welcome our speaker this evening, the facilitator that started yesterday, as he continues today, day 2. God bless you. Welcome, Mr. Innocent. Get yourself because I'm faced with year 2026. Bigger opportunities await us. But how ready are you? How ready?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Semi Innocent, and thank you for joining us for day 2 of this webinar on future ready tech skills for the coming year 2026. Please, if you can hear me, just let me know in the chat, and if you can't, let me know as well. you can hear me, let me know in the chat. Please, am I audible? All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, so today we continue from the yesterday session. Firstly, yesterday we walked through the mindset to cultivate if you want to make a move or a switch into tech. And some of the things we covered yesterday were that you should embrace beginner energy. That is, understand that you are a learner in this field, although you may be a pro in your previous field or your current field. This one you are going into, embrace that beginner energy. And the second one we said was to fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. The third one was exercise patience. Then we said to build a growth mindset. After that, we touched on accept that failure is part of the curriculum. 6, create a learning routine. The 7th item was surround yourself with a tech tribe. Number 8 thing was stay hungry for knowledge. Number 9 thing was believe you belong in tech. And then finally, we touched on celebrating every milestone you achieve. Then after that, we dive into some of these skills that we could pick up. And I said, the first one we were going to talk about yesterday was the one that doesn't require any kind of coding skill. It's more about visuals. So for somebody who is very conversant with human behavior, for example, you can easily go into user experience design. For somebody who has some kind of graphic design background, you could easily adopt user interface design. And we talked about UI, UX design. UI, UX design is a discipline that has other discipline. So once you get your foot in the door, now you can now explore other things. There are some people that just deal with accessibility, which is more like another subset of UI, UX design, which is more like making the product you are building accessible to people. For example, blind people use phone. Blind people also navigate the web using a website. How are they easily finding the right buttons? What are your links saying? And all of those things is part of accessibility. That is also another aspect of UI, UX design. There are so many other fields within UI, UX design that can be explored. All right, today we are going to continue from there. Of course, I have about 5 other things I want to talk about, and I'd like us to take it very, very quickly. Now, the aim of this webinar is not necessarily to coach and talk about each of these skills one at a time. We want to explain some of the questions somebody who is looking to start any of these skills may have. You might be confused about a particular thing you've heard someone talk about, and you want it clarified. So as we keep going through the list, if that thing is on the list, we are going to explain it. It's not on the list, then just leave the question you have in the chat, and I'll go over them from time to time. So please be active participants. Anything that I said you don't understand while you are listening, just quickly leave it in the chat and we'll go over it. So yesterday we stopped at UI, UX design, user interface, and user experience design. You may be asking, how long will it take for someone to learn user interface and user experience design? Well, it's not that long. If you spend 3 months learning UI, UX design on every single day, you should be comfortable designing the user interface and user experience for a website or a mobile app. Very simple for you to do. We are moving away from user interface and user experience design. The next thing I want us to look at is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity. So for those of us that are on mobile devices, one of the things I'd like to do, especially when I'm in a meeting or in a webinar where there is a slide or a presentation, what I do is I try as much as I can to put my phone on landscape mode. That way you can see whatever is being shown on the screen a little bit bigger compared to not doing that. All right, so very quickly, sorry, okay. All right, very quickly, cybersecurity. I'll try as much as I can to quickly run through this because of the time we have. So every message you send, every app you use, every online purchase you make travels through the world. Yes, we're in Africa, but every single time you go to Alibaba or you visit Facebook, you're not just communicating with internet data within Nigeria. You are traveling around the world in just a couple of seconds. Because of this, now imagine that just like in the real world, there are people trying to break into your house, steal valuable things from you, spy on your conversations with people, right? Or even cause chaos in your life. Cybersecurity is that system of locks, alarms, security men, as well as safety rules that protect the digital world. If we take it step by step, it's like you trying as much as you can to secure everything you do online. Now, I'm using you as an individual. Now, think about a business that has assets spread across the world, or that has, let's say, an e-commerce platform that has been online for the past 10 years, that makes hundreds of thousands of sales per year. Those digital assets generated by that platform will be targeted by not very well-meaning people. This is where cybersecurity comes in. So cybersecurity is the practice of protecting computers, phones, networks, websites, mobile apps, as well as data from being accessed, damaged, or stolen by unauthorized people. Now, the data there, we know data as you buy 10,000 naira data from MTN. That is not the data we are talking about. We're talking about information. We're talking about information. All right. So the protection of these valuable assets, digital assets, is what cybersecurity entails. So one may wonder, why does cybersecurity matter? Well, we live in a time where almost everything is online. Banking, school, health records, businesses, entertainment, even communication with loved ones through WhatsApp, Facebook, and all that. All right. So that means people store personal information online. Companies operate their services online. Government manage critical services or systems online. When these informations are not protected, We all have problems. This is where cybersecurity comes in. It helps to prevent things like this. For example, identity theft. Imagine somebody knocking on your door one day and it's like, you purchase something from Amazon using a stolen credit card. And you're like, me? I don't even know what Amazon is. Well, somebody has used your identity to make that purchase. That is what is called identity theft. So someone impersonating you or pretending to be you. We've heard fraudsters. Fraud is another thing that cybersecurity can help you prevent. Stealing your money, hacking, breaking into your account or devices. We also have viruses and malware, harmful software that are installed on your phone or any gadget that you have that is detrimental to that device. Another one is data leak. Your private information getting exposed. In recent times, we've had those kind of situations happen again and again and again. So in short, cybersecurity is the digital version of protecting your home, your wallet, your secrets, as well as your peace of mind. We all try as much as we can to make sure the door is locked before we go to sleep at night. That is physical security. But here we are talking about the security that has to happen online. So cybersecurity is one of these skills that we can adopt in the coming year. Now, this is how cyber attack works. For example, you see fake messages. How are you able to the real ones? Another thing is using weak passwords. Some of us have our phone numbers as the password to most of our accounts. Why? Because it is easy to remember. Another one is infected files. Somebody comes in and says, please let me quickly print this in. Plug their flash drive into your phone. You don't know what is being injected into that phone or into that computer. Another one is unsecured Wi-Fi. Unsecured Wi-Fi, sometimes you go to maybe a barber shop or a hairdressing salon, and then they say free Wi-Fi available, and you quickly connect to that free Wi-Fi. And while you are there, you are binge watching maybe a show on Netflix without protection. It's like having a private conversation in a crowded market. Anyone can listen. Anyone can listen. So cybersecurity helps us to mitigate against these problems. So you may be asking, is cybersecurity hard to learn? Not at all, is the answer. Like any skill, it starts with understanding the basics. You don't need to be a math genius or a computer wizard. All you need is curiosity, patience, willingness to resolve problems, a desire to protect people. Many people enter cybersecurity from non-technical backgrounds. Somebody can just be in, let's say, somebody can be a teacher and then become a cybersecurity personnel. Somebody can be in business. Somebody can be an artist. Somebody can be in the hospitality business and make their way into cybersecurity. One thing is, even this current year, 2025, a lot of people have been asking, why is cybersecurity jobs growing very, very fast? Well, as technology becomes more and more central to our daily lives, more protection is needed. And by 2026 and the years after that, businesses will need cybersecurity experts. Government will expand their digital security teams. In Nigeria, you have something called NIN, where they collect our personal information. How are those information stored? Are they protected? Who are those protecting those information? Well, they are cybersecurity experts. So more people will store their personal and financial data online. And because of this creates a massive global demand for cybersecurity professionals. This is my take on cybersecurity. And then we move to the next one, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, I'm not going to be talking about how to use ChatGPT in this webinar. Because like I said, we are not here to learn individual tools. We are here to understand how the industry works or how this particular skill is put to use before, just to help us get the necessary basic information for us to now move on. Now, artificial intelligence is not a single thing. It's a big umbrella covering machines or software that can perform tasks requiring human-like intelligence. Think of recognizing a friend's face in a photo. You scan through it, and then you picture that face, and it clicks in your head. This is this person. Understanding the words somebody speaks to you. Suggesting movie that you'd like, or even helping you to avoid traffic. Artificial intelligence is that mind-like engine that can do all of these things, because this very thing I just explained now is what happens online. You go to YouTube, for example, and then it's like all the kind of content you like is being suggested to you. That is artificial intelligence working behind the scene. For some of us that use facial recognition to lock our phone, the moment you bring your phone up to your face, it unlocks immediately. How is it able to tell it's you? Well, artificial intelligence, right? So now, under the wider AI or artificial intelligence umbrella, sits a lively and important tool or piece of the whole picture called machine learning. So machine learning, or ML, is the technique that helps computers learn from experience, just like human beings do. So we've talked about artificial intelligence, and we're talking about machine learning. So let's break it down into this simple tool. Artificial intelligence is a field of technology that focuses on creating machines that can mimic human intelligence. All right. So, but don't picture robots in this case, plotting the end of the world. That's not what we are talking about. Think of tools that are designed to assist, enhance, and simplify our daily lives. This is what artificial intelligence is about. What can artificial intelligence do? It can understand, it can reason, it can learn, it can solve problems, and it can also interact. It can do all of these things. So in terms of understanding, it can understand your voice. Some of us use Alexa. Some of us have used, what's this one from Google called now? Google Assistants or Siri, for example. They understand your speech. Even your complex assets can also be understood. Right. When we talk about it being able to reason, think of the GPS you have on your phone. It suggests a lot of this traffic on this other route. It can reason. It can also learn, like social media, predicting what you like. If you are like me, when you go to social media and begin to view some certain kind of content, the next time you come back, those kind of content will be suggested to you. Why? Because it has learned to of content. That is what artificial intelligence can do. And then it solves problems like when you receive a mail that is moved from the inbox to the spam folder. Why? The machine has already read through the content of that email to know this is not legitimate. Now, because nothing is perfect, sometimes it's not perfect, but it takes a lot of things into consideration before making that final decision to move that mail to the spam folder. So it solves problem. and then it interacts, just like chatbots. A lot of us here use ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and the other ones that we have, right? So it answers your question. There are some of us that interact with our bank thinking we are chatting with somebody online. No, that is the chatbot that has been programmed are too complex and it doesn't have answers to that. Why? Because it has not been configured to do that. So it is also interactive. So artificial intelligence gives machines the ability to behave smartly, not perfectly, like I said, just smart enough to work, to learn, as well as improve. Now, machine learning, on the other hand, is a branch of AI or artificial intelligence where the machines learn patterns from data instead of being manually programmed for every single task. So with machine learning, a whole lot of data is needed to get, it's like feeding on a lot of food to decide which one you prefer to eat. Think of it this way. In traditional programming, you tell the computer exactly what to do. But with machine learning, you give the computer example. This is how machine learning works. How does machine learning, how does it happen and how does it learn? Well, it learns from patterns, trends, past behavior, that is data from the past, as well as mistakes. The next time you use ChatGPT to ask a question, scroll down to the very bottom of that answer, and then you're going to see a button where you have a thumbs up to say good response, and then a thumbs down to say what? Bad response. Depending on the option or the answer you give, it knows not to suggest that the next time you ask. That is it, what learning from its mistakes. All right. So machine learning is how email apps are able to learn, recognize spam, just like I said earlier. How Netflix knows what you binge watch, the next time once you are done. Same way, the banks are able to detect fraudulent transactions as well. So let's, as some of these things on the screen, we've talked about them already, but this is how machine learning works. First, you feed it data. There was a documentary I watched a couple of months ago where some Africans were employed by some of these big tech companies. What are they employed to do? They are employed to feed these machines data. So they'll take a picture of a pothole, for example. Let's say they take a picture of a pothole. They'll have multi-pictures of potholes. All right. These human beings will now crop the part of, let's say, that particular part of the road where there's pothole and then feed it into the machine. So that simply means picking different types of pothole. What are they trying to do? They are training the model to understand or to recognize a pothole. So if that model is used for, let's say, a self-driving car, it knows what a pothole looks like. So the moment it sees one coming in front, it slows down and try to navigate around it or try to position the tires to go over it instead of going into the pothole. That is what it means to feed data. Remember when ChatGPT first started, it wasn't this brilliant, but because we all asked questions and did a whole lot of things on that system, it is now smarter than it used to be. That is what it means to feed data into a machine learning model. And then it studies the examples you give to it. Like I used the examples of a pothole. All right. It studies that example Sorry guys, my network is oh shoot. Sorry for that. My network went off. All right. So like we said, it begins to improve over time. We also have different types of machine learning. We have supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and then reinforced learning. What's the difference? Well, with supervised learning, like teaching a child with flashcards, you know how you have a toddler and then you put something in front of them and say, this is a mango, this is an orange. And then over time, the child can now begin to learn how to differentiate a mango from an orange. We also have unsupervised learning. Here, you don't need to give labels to what you are showing. It's like giving a child a box of mixed toys and watching them group those toys into separate parts. You are not into let's say toys that look alike. It could be based on color, it could be based on the material with which the toy was made and all of that. This is what unsupervised learning would look like. Then we have reinforced learning. This is where you can imagine something like training a puppy, a small dog, all right? And then for good actions, you reward them. And then for bad ones, you discourage them from doing it. That is what this would look like in terms of the reinforced learning. Where do we use machine learning in our daily lives? Like I said before, things like your YouTube next video suggestions is also a big one with is where machine learning can be used. Your Google Map traffic updates, your face recognition on your phone, your social media feed, when you are shopping online, the products that are being suggested to you, as well as your bank. These are places where machine learning can also be used. Now, machine learning and artificial intelligence is a little bit complicated in that you need to have a good programming foundation, as well as some kind of there are some aspects of mathematics you need to understand for you to get into this field. So this is unlike the UI UX we spoke about. But I'm not saying this to say it's it's going to be the hardest thing you do. It's not going to be the hardest thing you do. Like I said earlier, when I was talking about cybersecurity, all you need is just to familiarize yourself with the basics. And then from there, everything becomes easier as you go. Next thing we're going to be talking about is cloud computing. Cloud computing. Cloud computing is also another bigger field of study for the next year. Cloud computing is just the delivery of computer services like storing of files, software, networking, databases over the internet instead of on your own computer or on your own office servers. What does this mean? Well, everybody has some kind of cloud account. If you have an email like Gmail, if you have Outlook, if you have iCloud, you definitely have access to a cloud storage. So that is a cloud account, but this cloud computing we are talking about is a little bit different from that. This cloud computing is basically for software developers that are building products for business, personal use, whatever you can think of. That is what this cloud computing is about. And some of the big players in cloud computing in recent times are Amazon, Microsoft, as well as Google. Now for Amazon, it is called AWS, short for Amazon Web Services. Then Microsoft has a platform called Microsoft Azure. Some people call it Azure. So Microsoft Azure is the cloud platform for Microsoft. And then we also have Google Cloud, which is also the cloud platform for Google. Now, when it comes to cloud computing, we have different types of infrastructure that can be built on the cloud. For example, one is IaaS, which is short for infrastructure as a service. We also have PaaS, which is also platform as a service. We also have SaaS, which is software as a service. Now let's go a little bit into that. Infrastructure as a service is like renting a basic computer resources online. For example, I want to build my website. I can't put a server in my office or in my house. Why? Because if I build my website and I put my server in my house, that simply means I need light or electricity 24/7 to keep that website online, of which I can't afford. So what do? Simply, I go and rent a space on the cloud, and then I'll rent a server space. In that server, that is where I put all the files for my website. Now I have to pay a fee to whoever is providing that server space for me. This is an example of infrastructure as a service. It can be that you want a server. Maybe you want you want a place where you want to store data. For example, all the movies we stream on YouTube and Netflix, they are stored somewhere. Where are they stored? They are stored on the cloud. Who is providing that space for storage? Well, if it is Google, Google has a server, a cloud platform. So they are storing all of this information on their cloud. Infrastructure as a service can also be computer networks as well. It can also be computer networks. Then we go to platform as a service. This is an already made platform for developers to build application without worrying about things like hardware and all of that. An example is if I want to build a mobile app today, I can decide to use Google Cloud. They have a service called Firebase. Firebase is both storage and a database for me to just connect my application to, and I have my application online. That is an example of a platform as a service. And we also have software as a service. These are applications that are delivered via the internet. An example is your Gmail. So your Gmail is a platform as a service. For example, Netflix. Netflix is also a platform. Why? Because it's an already made application. All it needs is just you to create an account and enjoy the services that it provides. Another example would be your Microsoft 365 or Office 365. All you need for your documents, for your presentation and everything, just like this presentation you're seeing right now, was built using a software as a service, which is Microsoft 365. All of these happen on the cloud. So why does cloud matter? Well, you don't need to buy expensive equipment, because if I want to spin up a server within my office or in my house, it will cost me into millions just to be able to provide all the things that I need for the equipment. But when you rent, you don't have to worry about that much amount of money. At the end of the day, you only pay for what you use. So basically, when we are talking about cloud computing as a skill to learn for 2026, I'm just simply saying that with cloud computing, you can learn how to help people, developers, deploy their application, or how to help provision a server on the cloud. That is what cloud computing entails. Now, we are going to stop here and hear a quick word from Madam, and then once we come back, we begin to look at the remaining items we have for the day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. It's been a journey with this free webinar. This is day 2. Those of us that joined yesterday, we started on this topic, Future Ready for Tech Skill for 2026. We can understand now that we need to get ourselves ready to be in the job market, to be relevant. To be the sought after in this technology world. Get ready. Those things were mentioned as at yesterday. You must be patient, you must be studious, curious to learn. It's important to get back to those important skills that is needed so that we can give yourself some time every day, every minute. Make sure that you're going back to learn. This is coming to us from Jofia Academy, where we take students for JAMB lessons. That's for Nigerian exams. We cover foreign exams as well as computer courses. For computer courses, we cover courses like from basic computer, so tech world, graphics, computer programming languages, coding, web development courses, cybersecurity that we are just on right now, digital marketing. We can all learn all of that, or as well as basic computer. From zero computer, you can learn. You can truly learn UI, UX. You can learn app development. You can learn. Let's develop ourselves and get ourselves ready for the new year. It is important we get into that. The good news is these whole programs are all online. Lagos. We can take our classes. Online courses, NYC registration can happen right here. Other online registration programs can also happen here. Let's get ourselves ready for the new year. Also, adult education. You've been out of school for a while. You've been out of school for a while. You can learn again. You can get back to class. You can get back to school. You can take it from the scratch. You can move on no matter your age. You have people as old as 60-something, 70-something, as young as 2 years, 4 years. You can get back to school. You can learn again. You can learn from anywhere you are located from, both online, both one-on-one, both group sections. And the good news is this time around, we have online classes for JAMB lessons. JAMB lessons. If you have someone preparing for JAMB, have someone getting ready for next exam, we'll be sharing the link very soon. Get involved, register for JAMB lessons online, 100% online, even as we have physical classes that is holding right in the office. So if you are far from Lagos, you can join the online classes. By the grace of God, over the years, we have had excellent results from Nigerian exams as well as foreign exams. Let's get ourselves ready and launch into the next phase of our lives. It's not just time to keep procrastinating, setting up goals without applying them, without practically walking through the goals. It's important we get ourselves ready to walk through those set goals so that we can get into the new year ready to do exploits. God bless you. As I welcome back Mr. Enoch.
All right, thank you, madam. To conclude this, I'd like us to quickly walk through what I have left here. Data science and data analytics. What is data science? Now, we have to think of data science as a creative fusion of both art and science, because it's more than just science. It's the craft of taking raw data, messy data, and transforming it into a meaningful knowledge. To be able to do data science, it involves collecting data. This data can be collected from websites, sensors, machines, surveys, apps, anything, even from your Excel spreadsheet. Sometimes older way of collecting information, which is using pen to paper to fill a form, right? The data can be collected from those kind of medium. After collecting the data has to be cleaned. That is, removing things like errors, fixing inconsistencies, arranging it neatly. It's like washing vegetables before cooking. Definitely. Now, after that, you now explore the data. What are you doing? You are trying to look for patterns within the data you have, or the data set you have. You're trying to look for trends. You're trying to look for hidden signals within that data that may be calling out to you. And after that, you now build a model. What does it mean to build model? Well, to use mathematics as well as computer algorithm like machine learning to make prediction. Based on this available data, what can we predict may happen in the future? For example, their prediction to what the Nigerian economy will look like in the first to third quarter of next year. How are they able to do that? They're able to do that because they have to rely on past information that has been collected, documented. They collect it, clean it, and then they begin to explore and build models that can help them to predict if this is the trend we have for the past couple of years. How will that affect the next year and even the years after that? And then once this data has been collected, cleaned, you've explored, you've built your model, you now share those insights that you derive from the data, turning results into simple reports that once somebody sees it, the person can easily predict by using things like charts, dashboards, and other ways through which data can be represented for people to consume easily. Why? Because somebody who is not a data scientist will not understand these jargons I just spoke. So using insight to now communicate that information in a way that is simple and easy to understand is what sharing of insight means. Let me give a simple example. Say we have a brand that has been selling products online for the past 8 years. Now, every day we make thousands of sales. Every sale that has been made from our platform will be recorded in our database, in our website database, or in our mobile app database, for example. So now we want to move the company forward. So we are now going to ask, how do we know where to channel our energy as well as our finances? Well, the only way we are going to get to know where to do or where to move next is by relying on our customer behavior. And how do we know about our customer behavior? Well, through their online shopping history. And where is it stored? It is stored in the database. So we go to our database, fetch this raw information, and they will begin to make sure that the data is clean. Then we explore to see, we build models out of that, and then begin to share insight. For example, there's a particular time of the year where our sales surge. The other time of the year where there's a dip. That tells us about trends. That simply means we know when to step up our marketing and when to do other things. That is an example of what we are talking about here. Now, how about data analytics? While data science explores the deep ocean of possibilities that are embedded in data, data analytics, on the other hand, focus on answering specific questions practically and doing it very, very quickly. For example, looking for an existing data, finding trends, creating reports and dashboards, as well as helping businesses to make informed decisions. I just gave all of this thing in the last example I gave. When we pick this historic data, we begin to look for trends to see where we make more sales, where we have sales within the year that is not encouraging at all, and then what we can do to mitigate those dips in our sales. That is what data analytics is for. So how does data analytics and data science relate? Well, with data science, we try to predict the future. Data analytics explains the past as well as the present. Using machine learning, you can do that with data science. Using in data analytics, you use statistics as well as analysis to be able to get the information you want. Data science is a little bit more technical, whereas data analytics is more business focused. Data science is broad, while data analytics is more goal oriented. These are the different ways we can do this. Now, to get into data science and data analytics, of course, we need a little bit of background. If you've used Excel spreadsheet before, that's an example of a tool that can be used for both data science and data analytics, because data collected can be stored in an Excel spreadsheet. And sometimes when you use Excel spreadsheet, you try to make your data easier to understand by using things like pie charts, scatter chart, and all of those things. That's an aspect of what we are talking about basically, right? So it's something that anybody can actually learn as well. Now we are moving quickly because of time. Next thing I have here is ethical hacking. And the moment we hear hacking, sometimes the alarm bell just go off. We don't have to. Ethical hacking is the legal, authorized, and purposeful attempt to break into a computer system, a network, a software, even a mobile phone, not to cause harm, but to uncover weaknesses before the bad guys do. It's like we built a bank. We now call somebody that we know to help break into that bank to see if it is easy to do, if it's easy to do. If that guy is able to penetrate, what do we now do? We tell, how did you get in? All right, tell us. He tells us the weakness, and then we try to patch or upgrade our security system. That way, somebody with that same approach can no longer infiltrate our bank. This is exactly what ethical hacking is. And this is a very big industry. So think of Facebook, think of YouTube, think of Google, think of Netflix, think of any big tech company in operation right now. They all have hundreds, if not thousands of ethical hackers that test their different infrastructure for weaknesses. All right, this is what ethical hacking is about. So why does it exist? In today's world, everything is digital. Like we know, money is digital, cryptocurrency. Businesses are digital. Some people sell only on Instagram, right? Healthcare, education, even relationships. That means criminals are now operating online too, right? They break into your bank system to steal funds. They hack your social media account. They take over your website. They steal your personal data. They shut down company systems, for ransom. To defend against all these skills, organizations need professionals to understand how attacks work and how to better outsmart the hacker. So it's like saying, let somebody I know that I've given access steal my wallet for me to, instead of a real pickpocketer to steal my wallet. That's basically what ethical hacking is about. And ethical hacking has different aspects. One is reconnaissance, which is more like gathering information. It's like another one is scanning to the system or the infrastructure you're trying to protect. The person has to scan to see if there are weaknesses. And then exploitation is when the person finally breaks in. And then post-exploitation, what happens after the person has broken in? And after all of those things, the person comes back to give you a clear report of how the person was able to do all of this. And that report will now include the weaknesses in the system, as well as suggestion on how to now make sure that those weaknesses are not exploited. All right, this is what ethical hacking is about. And ethical hacking is not just any kind of field, it's one that requires a little bit of technical know-how as well. And for you to be able to do ethical hacking, you need to know some of these things on the screen, which is a little bit of knowledge on networking, Linux fundamentals, some kind of programming foundation, web technologies like a website, because a website can be hacked. So cyber security tools, things like Kali Linux, Bob Suite, Metasploit, and all of those. Problem-solving skill, you must also have a problem-solving skill. And then the most important thing, I think, is ethics. Because like I said, ethical hacking is not just breaking into somebody's, you have the 100% permission to do so. So if you are doing any type of hacking where you don't have 100% permission from the owner of that website or system to do so, that is not ethical hacking. That is actually hacking, which is illegal. So integrity is non-negotiable for an ethical hacker. And companies bill out millions of dollars every year just for people to help them protect their infrastructure. And this is the reason why Google is still online till today. Without ethical hackers, there will be no Google. Why? Because hackers would have infiltrated into their systems and shut down the platform. Moving quickly, the last one I want to talk about is full stack development. Full stack development is basically the art of building both the visible part of the website and the invisible part of the website. So the website has two parts. The part you can see when you go to www.google.com, for example, the part you see is the front end, right? We call that the front end. Now, the front end is the one you interact with on a daily basis. You see buttons, you see images, you see videos, you see text you can read. That is the front end. Then there's another invisible part, which is like the software part of the website, which is called the back end. Now, with the back end, what that does is it's just a set of instructions that your website will adhere to or your website will follow whenever the user performs an action. For example, you filled a form on the front end and you click on register. And then just like that, you see that your account has been created. How was the account created? It was the back end that was able to handle all of that logic behind the scene and then give you back a response on the front end. So the front end includes your buttons, all the colorful layouts you see, your menu items, the animation. For example, you go to a website, you see images moving. All of that is part of the front end. Some of the common technologies used for front-end development include technologies like HTML, which is used to structure the website, CSS, which is used to beautify the website, and then JavaScript, which is used to make the website interactive. There are some websites, the moment you land on it, after a couple of seconds, something pops up telling you to sign up for something. That is JavaScript at work, right? So front end is one part, back end is another part of it. This is where the server side of full stack lives. So this is the hidden engine, very, very powerful one that you don't see, but it has a whole lot of effect on how a website works. For example, storage of data. Picking data from the user and storing it in the database is handled by the backend. If you want to fetch an information, if you click on the link, it goes there and it takes you there. If you fill a form, it makes sure that the information you entered into the form is correct. If it's not correct, it tells you this information is not correct. Not the last time you tried to log into let's say a platform and you use the wrong password. The backend takes in your password and your username and it says that this thing is not correct. And it gives you back to you and tells you username or password incorrect. That is the server side. So when you are able to build front end and back end, you are now called a full stack developer. All right. When you're able to build application on the front end, as well as write logic server-side computer code, that is what makes you a full stack developer. And then finally, we also have common technologies as well. Python, PHP, Ruby on Rails, and all of that. And I also said the back end also interacts with databases as well, where your information are stored. Every online platform, in fact, all the chats you've been chatting on WhatsApp is stored somewhere. Where is it stored? It's stored in a database, and the backend helps communicate to the database back and forth. All right. Now, I have another one, which I'll just quickly highlight, and then we end this. This is software development. Software development, generally, every time you tap on an app on your phone, every time you book a ride, every time you send a message on a messaging platform, every time you check your bank balance, every time you play a game, you are interacting with something that somebody has carefully written. This thing the person has written is a set of instructions in computer code. This is what software development is. And the person who wrote this code is called a software developer. Coding is very easy for anybody to learn. And it's also one of the most important tools, another important skill to learn in the coming year. So software development matter because without software development, computers will just be silent boxes. Beautiful, but useless. Software gives them a voice. It gives them the power to move and do things. Just like when you put in your PIN and you say, make payment, something happens, you get an alert. A certain amount of money has been moved from your account. That is software development at work. So it powers your mobile apps, your website, your automated machines, your banking system, your transportation, even down to the healthcare. Software development is very, very, very powerful and is another thing that I think will be very, very, very high in demand in the next year. So as much as we can, let's try as much as we can to gain any of these skills that has been shared with us today. So let's quickly walk in here. In the next 2 minutes, if you have any question, leave it in the chat before we close for the day. If you have any question, quickly leave it in the chat and then I answer and then we'll close. Okay, if there's no question, I think okay, I have one. Okay. Okay, let's wait for that question. Somebody said there's a question, so someone is asking, how do you get the full training? It depends on which of the skills we've mentioned we are talking about. It depends on which of the skills. If you can specify any of these skills we've mentioned so far, so that I can help guide you better. Mr. Mr. Gabriel Femi, we are waiting for the question. Now, any of this thing has been, okay. It says transferring data from your computer to what? Okay. Mr. Femi is asking, transferring data from your computer to WhatsApp on your phone. I can't get the context around that question. Transferring data from, can you add a little bit of context? How do you transfer data from your computer to WhatsApp on your phone? What kind of data are we transferring? Is it you want to use your WhatsApp both on your phone and your computer? We need a little bit of context so we answer the question correctly. Okay, now back to Prof. Prof is asking cybersecurity. Okay, now he's asking how do we get the full training on cybersecurity and data science? Well, we have two ways of training at Jufia Academy. One is online and the other one is in person. So if you are far away from this place and we can't get that direct access to you to have you in our class physically, we have the training available online that will guide you through every step of the way. And then, of course, one of the things we encourage is asking of questions. Any problem you encounter, so somebody is definitely going to be there to help answer the question. Be data analytics, any of the skills as mentioned so far, we can definitely help you with that. Okay, I don't think Mr. Femi is coming forth with that. Okay, he's asking, like Excel data to WhatsApp, e.g. phone numbers, to move Excel data to WhatsApp. Well, WhatsApp is not a platform for, WhatsApp is not a platform for data analytics. If you are doing data analytics, for example, because I remember mentioning Excel when I was talking about data analytics. If you are doing data analytics, definitely you are not going to be using Excel for that. If you are doing data analytics, it depends on the kind of tool you want to use. It depends on the kind of tool the data analytics course is built on. If you are using Excel, and let's say you are using Power BI, which is a Microsoft tool short for Power Business Intelligence, you can get your Excel spreadsheet, put it into Power BI, do the process we just walked in now. First of all, you've gotten the data, so you clean the data, you explore to make sure everything is cool. You build a model, and then from that model, okay, so from that model, you can now begin to derive insight. When it comes to transferring data from Excel to your WhatsApp, the only thing you can do is, let's say you have an Excel spreadsheet that contains data and you want to share with somebody. That's the only time WhatsApp can be used. How do you go about that? You just download or export after saving the Excel spreadsheet. You just simply go and use the option to, if you are sharing on WhatsApp, instead of using image, you use what document. And then you look for where the file has been saved to. Click on it and you send. But aside that, WhatsApp is just a tool for messaging. It's not used for data analytics. Thank you. Somebody says, I'm very interested in coding. How can I go about it? Well, the most important thing is this. When you use the word coding, it's an umbrella term. All right, that word coding is ambiguous. It means a lot of things. All these things I've been explaining all involves coding. So first of all, one of the things you have to do is to identify the kind of product you want to build using code. For somebody who writes code, the person can use that code to build websites. For somebody who writes code, that person can use that code to build mobile apps. For somebody who writes code, that person can use the code to build an AI model. For somebody who writes code, the person can use it for data analytics. Somebody who writes code can also use that same code for cybersecurity as well as ethical hacking. So the most important thing is you first of all has to identify what do you want to do with your code. If you are able to identify that, then we can now advise, okay, if you want to build website, this is what you learn. This is how you go about it. If you want to be able to build mobile apps, this is what you have to learn, or this is how you go about it. That will be easier for us to advise, because when you use the word coding is an umbrella term. Anybody that, it doesn't matter, as long as you are writing any kind of computer code, it falls under the umbrella of coding, but you have to be specific on what you want your code to do. For example, if you want to join the military, Military is also an umbrella term. Is it the Air Force? Is it the Army? Right? So if I say, oh, I like the way Air Force dress, now I can now begin to look for the right platform to get into the Army. Okay, you're asking if I can drop my contact for further inquiry. No problem, sir. My contact it will be shared. I don't know how you got to this webinar, but trust me, that flyer has all of this information. The flyer has all of this information. Because of you, I think I'd have to leave this in the chat. So I think we are done. Okay, Samuel left a message. He said, I want to use it for data science. Nice, that is cool. So for data science, we may have to look at what you already know if you are starting as a novice. We can go with the R programming language or the Python programming language for data science. All right. And then along the line, you're also going to be able to learn tools like Excel, not just imputing data, but actually using Excel for bigger things. We're going to talk about other aspects of other tools that you need for data science. But when it comes to the coding part, I think you can learn the R programming language or the Python programming language. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave a phone number on the screen. I'm going to leave a phone number on the screen, and then, yes, I'm going to leave the phone number on the screen, or Madam will come and then call the phone number for everybody to use in case you want to look for, in case you're asking for further information. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This webinar is coming to us from Jofia Academy, a training center that covers Nigerian exams, that covers foreign exams, as well as computer courses. You're asking for contacts. The number, the office line is 080 33 40 4949. Many of you that joined this platform by filling form would have gotten that number. Some of you chatted directly. It's the same office line. Call it again, 080 33 40 4949. So you're free to make all the necessary inquiries you want to make. Like we mentioned earlier, these programs can all be possible physically or online. So wherever you are in any part of the world, you can look for a section, and it can be one-on-one section. It can also be group section. Like we mentioned earlier, we have courses for Nigerian-based exams that covers WAEC, JAMB, CE, post-UTME, and right away we are coming out with online classes for the next exam, which is basically JAMB. It might not be for you. You can send that message to someone that you know. Also, for foreign exams, covering tests for English. Those of them going for foreign schools can prepare for GMAT, GRE, IELTS, TOEFL, SAT, and many others. And just like you mentioned, the basic computer to interact with you, you open up to where you are. Can take a decision, want to learn graphics, start from graphics, want to learn UI, UX. Just take it one after the other. It doesn't just happen suddenly, little by little. Before you know, you get there. So let's get ourselves prepared as we walk into the new year, like you mentioned, this is the last for the year 2025. We trust God again as we return back to year 2026. God willing, we'll be able to launch into more relatable topics. And that's exactly how we are trying to open up some of these terminologies that we heard that maybe we don't know so much about. It is little by little begin to engage yourself. Thank you so much for being there with us in this moment. I'm starting as a movie. Yeah, somebody's writing that. I'm starting as a movie. Very beautiful. From zero computer to any level, you can start any moment. So thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Any further inquiries, go ahead with the number or check Tofia Academy email address, Tofia Academy center@gmail.com. Can send a mail. We'll also respond to you. Thank you and God bless you. See you again 2026. Thank you. Also, all the whole programs are there online on YouTube page. You can check out with Tofia Academy. The YouTube page, we share the link very shortly. Those of you that are on the platform, God bless you.